Hi again, friends. Welcome to Yost Ice Arena. I'm Doug Karsh, and this is Inside Michigan Hockey. It's that time of year, heart attack hockey. One and done. The Wolverines, the #1 seed in the Midwest region, the #2 seed overall in the NCAA tournament, and Michigan will face Cornell, the 4 seed in the Midwest, this coming Friday night in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
And obviously, it's great to be a 1 seed, but we have a tough bracket, and we need to go and play our best hockey. That's for sure.
We're excited. Obviously, to be a #1 seed is a goal of our team. Our goal our team had, and in mid-November, #1 seed seemed like it was out of reach. So we're really excited to get that 1 seed. But at the same time, we know that every team in that bracket, every team in the tournament this time of year can win any game on any given night. So 1 seed's nice, but it doesn't really mean much.
Red Berenson, the head coach of the Wolverines, will tell you there's not a lot to decide between these two teams, Michigan and Cornell, but one factor that does stand out, experience. The Wolverines, their roster, they've all got NCAA experience. The head coach, this is the record 22nd consecutive time he's taken a team to the NCAA tournament.
It's like Michigan tradition. We have the experience to go deep into the tournament. We've won the most national championships out of any college program, and we're looking to hang another banner up in Yost.
Getting to the national championship game last year, some tough games. Being down in that first game, down 2-0 in the first period. Learn how to play with, when you're down, and learn how to win is huge for our team. We got 8 or 9 new faces, in the freshman class that haven't been in the tournament. So obviously they're going to lean on us a little bit more, and hopefully our experience will help them out.
Everyone but the freshmen played in the national championship game last year, which is definitely some good experience. But I think this is a new year, and we gotta come back with some new energy and find a way to get back there.
Of course, you may recall last year the Wolverines made a run all the way to the NCAA championship game before losing in overtime to Minnesota Duluth. And Michigan got an unexpected boost out of an unlikely source, including a goal in the title game. Our Claire Stachel has more.
Every athlete has a turning point in their career, whether that be an injury, an amazing play, or simply just a chance. For junior forward Jeff Rocamper, that opportunity came last year when David Wohlberg got injured right before the NCAA tournament. Enter Jeff Rocamper. What were your feelings when you first got told that you would be replacing him?
Obviously very excited. Playoffs are the best time of the year. Biggest games of the season, so I was just really excited to get an opportunity to go in there and help us try to win some big games.
What do you think you really learned from that experience, and how has it impacted this year?
I think it was important. Well, it's important for all young players to see how the older guys handle it, guys that have been there before. So I know as a freshman watching our seniors, and even last year watching the older guys, I think it's a valuable experience for all the younger guys just to see how the best players remain consistent and are able to control all their emotions.
And you ended up scoring a goal in the championship game. Can you tell me your feelings around that goal?
Obviously, I think it's one of those things that I'll appreciate more when I'm older, but it was pretty cool. Obviously, it happened pretty quick during the game, and I didn't get a lot of time to really reflect on it, but I think as I get older, it's something I'll appreciate more and more.
Not only has Rocamper showed up on the ice, he has excelled in the classroom, winning the CCHA Scholar Athlete Award from Michigan. As a history major, Jeff is considering law school, but for now, he's truly enjoying the Michigan college experience. Tell me just really briefly about your favorite part about your experience here so far at Michigan.
I'd say it's definitely just the guys on the team. Obviously met some friends I'm going to have for the rest of my life. I knew Kevin Lynch coming in, but he was the only classmate I really knew, and I'm very fortunate to meet the younger and older guys in my 3 years here.
Wouldn't it be great if Jeff had another chance to score in another national championship game? For Inside Michigan Hockey, I'm Claire Stachel.
And we're joined right now by the head coach of the Wolverines, Red Berenson, and the story of Jeff Rocamper is an interesting one because you just never know what's going to happen in the postseason.
Well, Jeff's been one of those players that doesn't seem to get in the lineup on a regular basis during the year, and then when it comes down to the playoffs, then we need to look at the players that we can trust the most. He's one of those players.
Well, let's talk about these playoffs. You've been here what seems like every year. Does Red Berenson still get nervous?
Oh yeah, and if you're not nervous, you shouldn't be coaching. I'm nervous. I have my concerns every year about whether it's our opponent or how we're playing or whatever. But I like our team. I like where we are, and I'm proud of our team.
Can you tell if your team is nervous?
I think they're in a good place right now. I think there's a certain comfort level with having some experience, knowing that we have to play with desperation, but we also have to play with confidence.
Can you capture something that worked last year that this team can capitalize on and a run to the national championship game?
I don't know if you can capture it or replay it, but we definitely can remind our team of how well the games were played, how close they were. I mean, these games were like 2-1 games, and then the game against North Dakota was a 1-0 game, and we scored in the empty net to make it 2. But essentially, the first goal could be the winning goal of the game, no matter who scores it. So there's a sense of urgency. Goals are obviously very important or crucial, and the start of the game is important, obviously.
Because of the nature of last year's run, all the close games, overtime, 1 goal, replay, all those things that came into it, does it make it easier for you to coach, to make them understand all those little things you talk about all matter now?
Well, they do, and we want to remind them, but we can't reinvent the wheel. We know that our team has been through that. 3/4 of our team, remember, played in those situations last year. And those are things that we're trying to do all year. We're not going to change our game, but we definitely have to tweak it or fine-tune it this time of year.
Let's talk about some of the leaders on this team, and starts with the goalie, Sean Hunwick. Evaluate his play coming out of last weekend into the NCAA tournament.
Well, I think Sean would like to have a couple of those shots back, and not necessarily the goals that went in even, but just goals that he might have turned loose a fat rebound or maybe didn't place the puck where he wanted to place it. But overall, we have a ton of confidence in Sean Hunwick, and he's got his team behind him, he's got the coaches behind him, and he's got the experience behind him.
It seems like the best players step up this time of year. John Merrill scored a huge goal for you last weekend. Talk about the impact he's had on this team in the second half of the season.
Well, no question. Johnny is in our top 2 defensemen, and we played without him the first semester, and then for him to come back, it's been a big boost for our defense. And with the puck and without the puck, whether it's special teams, power play, penalty killing, I mean, he's a huge part of our defense.
Is there a consistency factor you look at from a guy like Chris Brown?
Well, a lot of our players, not a lot of them, but Brownie might be considered a streaky player. But the one thing he gives you every night is a physical presence and effort. And so sometimes he doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but he's showing up on the ice.
AJ Trias really blossomed this year. People who saw him in the tournament a year ago, seeing a different player this year, aren't they?
No question. AJ's a dangerous player, maybe as dangerous as anyone on our team with the puck. And his line is really in a good place right now, as is AJ. And, I've lamented in the past we need to get AJ to become AJ. He's become AJ.
Let's talk about Cornell a little bit. Heard a scouting report on them. They're similar to Miami. They get points out of their defense like Western. Is that a pretty accurate description for the fans that want to get to know your first-round opponent?
They're big, they're physical, they're a hard-working team. They play good defense. They have a goalie like Hunwick, and they have some top players, obviously, that have helped get them as far as they have. So there'll be a tough opponent.
What do the seeds mean to you?
They don't mean anything now. The only thing we get is we don't get home ice, but we get to be the home team. And in that scenario, we'll get the last change. So if we have matchups that we need to get, we'll get them. On the other hand, you've got to play the game. And, we've seen this before. We've seen the number 1 seeds get knocked off in the first game. And that can't happen to Michigan.
Seems like that happens a lot in this tournament. The number 1 seeds, it's you fill out that bracket. You don't do it with Penn.
Well, that's right. And we saw that happen to Boston College last year in St. Louis. And they were far and away the best of the 4 teams there. But we were the team that moved on. So it's not always the best team or the highest seed going in. It's the team that plays the best.
Also, every time your seniors lace up the skates, it could be the last time they play. Do those kids take extra ownership this week, have you noticed in practice?
I think they will by the end of the week. I mean, they're getting it, and there's a lot of pride in that group. They've been through this before, but they're just focused right now on Friday's game. I don't think anyone's worried about not playing on Saturday. I mean, that there's a chance you couldn't play on Saturday. You have to have a good game Friday. But right now, we're focused on what we're going to do Friday.
You saw something this past weekend in the CCHA tournament where you played the late game on Friday. Everybody knows it went to double overtime. Then you had to come back and play on Saturday on short rest compared to Western Michigan. You've got the same thing this weekend with the late game. Doesn't seem to really benefit a number 1 seed, but can you draw anything from last weekend when you had to do it?
Well, I think we can do it. There's no question. Physically, we can do it. It's a bit of a marathon. We've got the depth, and I think we can do that. So it really is a physical thing as well as a mental thing. But you've got the momentum from the night before. You played the night before. You played well. I mean, look at let's take the Red Wings last night. You know, they played a tired, traveled team, and got beat bad, and that can happen to a college team as well. So don't count out the team that has the late game.
All right, points of emphasis this week, Michigan and Cornell, first round. What are things we should be looking for?
Well, at the start of the game, we need to have a good start, and whether that turns into offense or scoring or just playing well, I would tell you that goals, as I mentioned, are precious, but special teams, discipline, and just really good old-fashioned defensive hockey.
After what you saw last weekend, would you take a 0-0 first period?
Well, I don't know if I would. I mean, if we're outplaying the other team, I want to, we want to get the lead, and that's been our trademark all year. Is we've had the lead after the first period, but we did learn last week that we can play from behind, even if it's in the third period. We can come back in a game, and so good for our team.
One time a year. Best of luck.
Yep. Thanks, Doug.
We'll have wall-to-wall coverage here on MGoBlue.com starting on Thursday. You can check in for practice reports and post-game following the Wolverines game with Cornell on Friday night. Should they advance Saturday, of course, we'll have coverage of that as well, as Michigan would play for a spot in the Frozen Four. For MGoBlue.com, I'm Doug Karsch.